You said something in a room full of people, and hours later, you're still replaying it. Not the important parts, just the small thing. The joke that landed a half-second late. The word you stumbled on. You lie in bed, and the moment loops, and a quiet voice asks what they all must have thought of you. Nobody else remembers it. You can't forget it. You tell yourself, it's silly. Why should it matter what a few people think? But your body answers, before your logic can. The warm flush in your face, the tightening in your chest, the strange, helpless need to be seen as good. So why do you care so much about what others think? The easy answer is that you're insecure, that you need to grow a thicker skin, that confident people simply don't worry about this. But the easy answer is wrong, and it's wrong in a way that has quietly tortured millions of people. Because caring what others think is not a flaw in your character. It is one of the most powerful survival instincts your species ever evolved. To understand it, you have to forget the modern world for a moment. Forget the crowds of strangers. Forget the fact that you can move cities, change jobs, start over among people who've never met you. None of that existed for almost all of human history. For hundreds of thousands of years, you belonged to a small band, maybe 30 people, maybe 100. You were born among them, and you would almost certainly die among them. There was no leaving. There was no fresh start. These were the only humans in your entire world, and in that world, what they thought of you was not a feeling. It was a life or death fact. If the group valued you, you ate when food was scarce. You were protected when you were sick. Someone watched your children. Someone shared their fire. But if the group turned against you, if you were seen as selfish, or lazy, or untrustworthy, you could be pushed to the edge. And to be cast out of the group was not loneliness. It was a death sentence. No single human could survive the ancient world alone for long. The predators, the cold, the hunger. You needed them, all of them. So evolution did something clever and merciless. It made the opinion of the group feel like survival itself. This is the core of what researchers call the sociometer theory, developed by the psychologist Mark Leary. His idea is striking in its simplicity. Your self-esteem is not really about you. It is a gauge, an internal meter that constantly measures one thing. How much do the people around me value and accept me right now? When the meter reads high, you feel confident and calm. When it drops, you feel that sick, anxious ache. The ache is not weakness. It is an alarm, a signal warning you that your place in the group might be slipping. Think about that. The pain you feel when you imagine being judged is the same ancient alarm that once kept your ancestors from being abandoned to die. And the alarm runs deep, deeper than you might believe. In a now famous set of experiments, the neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger put people inside a brain scanner and had them play a simple online game of catch with two other players. What the participants didn't know was that the other players were controlled by a computer. Partway through, the other two simply stopped throwing the ball to them. They were excluded, left out, ignored by strangers they would never even meet. It should have meant nothing, a pointless game, a couple of imaginary players. But the brain scans told a different story. The exclusion lit up the same regions that process physical pain, the very same circuitry. To your brain, being left out doesn't feel like a metaphor for pain. It registers as pain. Real, literal, neurological pain. Your nervous system treats social rejection like a wound, because for your ancestors, it was one. So when a glance, a comment, an unanswered message stings far more than it logically should, you are not being dramatic. You are feeling an injury in the exact place evolution taught you to feel it. But here is where the story turns strange. That ancient instinct, so perfectly tuned for a band of 30, is now running in a world of billions. And the math has gone insane. Your ancestors needed the approval of a small, stable group of people they knew their whole lives. You now move through a world of endless strangers. Faces on a street. Names on a screen. An audience that can swell into the thousands or the millions, none of whom you'll ever meet, all of whom your ancient brain still treats as your tribe. The meter that was built to track one small group is now trying to read the opinion of the entire planet. And it cannot cope. Every notification becomes a tiny verdict. Every silence becomes a possible rejection. A single unkind comment from a stranger you'll never see again can hijack your whole day, because the part of you that's reacting doesn't know what a stranger is. It only knows the group, and to it, every disapproving voice sounds like the tribe turning its back. This is the quiet trap of the modern mind. You are using a tool designed to keep you safe in a world of 30 people to navigate a world of 8 billion. Of course it overwhelms you. It was never built for this. And there's a darker edge to it still, because the people who study this have found something uncomfortable. The fear of judgment doesn't just make you anxious. It quietly shapes who you become. You soften your opinions. You laugh at things you don't find funny. You choose the safe path, the expected job, the agreeable answer. Researchers studying conformity, going all the way back to Solomon Asch in the 1950s, found that people will deny the evidence of their own eyes rather than stand alone against a group. In his experiments, people gave answers they knew were wrong, simply because everyone around them said so. The pull to belong can override the truth right in front of you. So the cost of caring what others think is not only your peace of mind. Sometimes it's your honesty, your originality, the shape of your one life. But before you decide this instinct is your enemy, look at it from the other side. That same sensitivity is the reason you are kind, the reason you keep your promises, the reason you feel shame when you've hurt someone, and pride when you've helped. The voice that asks what others think of you is also the voice that asks whether you've been good to them. A person who truly, completely did not care what anyone thought would not be free. They would be dangerous. Caring what others think is the invisible thread that stitches every human group together. It is the root of conscience itself. So the instinct is not the problem. The problem is that it cannot tell the difference between the people who matter and the strangers who don't. And that, quietly, is where your power lives. You cannot delete the alarm. It is older than language, older than memory, woven into the deepest layers of your brain. But you can choose which voices it listens to. You can decide that the verdict of a stranger online does not get to weigh as much as the people who actually share your fire. You can shrink your tribe back down, on purpose, to the handful of people whose opinion you've truly earned and who have truly earned yours. Because the goal was never to stop caring. The goal is to care about the right 30. So the next time you lie awake replaying the small thing, the joke, the stumble, the unanswered message, try to hear that anxious voice for what it really is. It is not your weakness whispering. It is hundreds of thousands of years of survival, still trying to keep you safe, still trying to keep you in the group, still doing the only job it has ever known. It loves you. It's just confused about the size of the world. You said something in a room full of people, and hours later, you're still replaying it. Now you know it isn't vanity keeping you awake. It's your ancestors, still afraid of being left in the dark.